Here we go. We're going to have some fun. Welcome to Skip Happens, everybody. Skip Clark on this end. And right up there is my good friend, Deb Lamphere, the president and founder of the official CountryMusic fan club. And right over there, check this.
Let's see if I could do this.
I know.
There we go.
He's got it. We got it.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, we are just pumped that he has taken the time to come on with Skip Happens. And a country superstar, my friend, already in my book and still climbing. This is amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. TylerRich with us here tonight. Tyler, how are you, my friend?
What's up, guys? Quite an intro. Thank you very much. Nice to see you guys.
Welcome.
Man, I don't even know what to say. Very excited. You know, I thought I was, let me just be honest with you guys. We had Martina McBride on here, I don't know, maybe a couple of months ago. And I was nervous as all heck. I'm going, oh, God. And I've been doing this a long time. But it was Martina McBride. But you know what? I think I'm more nervous having this guy on, TylerRich. Yeah, dude, it's like, wow. And of course, I talked to some of your team and they were like, yeah, dude, he'd love to come on. We got to get him to do this. And it all worked out. So here we are. It's TylerRich and very excited. I like the San Francisco hat, by the way. And
that's me, man. All the time, almost like a trademark at this point.
That's all. I get it. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. But first of all, tell Deb and I, where are you? Describe your surroundings a little bit.
So I'm surrounded by hats and shoes.
I like them.
When my wife wants more, she builds up. And so that we're in LA. My wife's an actress, so we split time between LA and Nashville. And so when the world ended, March 13th last year, and everything went, who knows what the hell's going on. I grabbed Abby, this dog.
Welcome.
Flew across the country and been in LA ever since. And so heading back to Nashville in a couple months, but we've been just COVID quarantined in California.
I think the weather's nicer there.
It's been wonderful. It's been very nice.
Well, we don't need to talk about that. But I bet it is. Where you're right in LA, did you say?
Yeah, right in LA.
Yeah. So, like, for example, what's the temperature there right now?
I mean, it was like mid 60s today.
Okay, well, that's
better than us, Skip.
Well, we're in the middle 30s. We're in the middle 30s, and this is a heat wave, but I guess it's supposed to be really cold. But we're not here to talk about weather. We're here to talk about TylerRich, and we're here to talk about his music. We're here to talk about his life. And I will say I'm quite impressed with all those hats. And those are shoes you said on the shelves back there?
Yeah, those are. Oh yeah, there we go. So yeah, we got all. It's all backwards. So when I point this way, my hand goes the other way. Yeah, a bunch of shoes. This part right here is mine. Just a little slot.
Okay, that's and the rest are hers.
Yeah, and then she has more on this side. You just can't see it. Like right.
That's a great idea, though.
Yeah, it keeps her keeps her happy. She doesn't have to get rid of stuff that she doesn't, because she with acting stuff and her auditions, she's always got to dress like she needs a million outfits. She's the only woman in the world that actually has an excuse to have this much clothes because she plays a million different people.
Right.
Good for her.
Exactly.
Good for her.
And all those hats, are they yours?
These are all hers.
Those are hers.
Yeah, I've got a bunch of baseball caps. And
I got you. Okay.
My stuff's under the bed.
All right. So I would take it. San Francisco's your team. Your stuff's under the bed.
My stuff's under the bed.
It took a second. My stuff's under the bed, too.
Yeah,
yeah, we know how that goes. Right, Deb?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like
another perspective. Let's talk about, you had the album come out, 2,000 Miles? And tell us the story about that a little bit. Why is it called 2,000 Miles?
So I touched on it briefly just, a couple minutes ago about the fact that Sabina and my wife and I go back and forth between Nashville and LA. And from meeting her to then, chasing and getting a record deal to the 4 years of touring and writing songs and picking songs and recording songs, all led up to this moment where I was getting to drop my debut album. And I was like, what else could I possibly call it other than the distance between our two front doors that I've been doing between my love and my wife, my girlfriend to fiance to wife, and my career and my passion every week, 2,000 miles back and forth, writing songs here, writing songs there. And then the irony of it all is that my producer is obviously in Nashville during COVID, and I'm out here. So then I build this little mini studio at home, and I finally learned how to start recording stuff because I have to finish the album here with him on the computer screen just like this. And so I actually finished the last couple songs of the album singing 2,000 Miles from my producer just like this. And I was like, man, this is what's got to be called. It's the perfect. It's the perfect.
And I did read about that. But I wanted you to tell everybody about that. I think that's so unique and so cool that's how you came up with it. And
yeah, it was perfect.
Well, it's just kind of amazing that even as an artist and with your producer and all the mechanics behind producing your songs and your album, you even have to go through the process of learning new technology to get things done, as we all did. We don't think about that end of it.
Yeah, and it was like, I mean, obviously, you know, all industries, everybody, when all this happened last year, we all immediately had to innovate. We had to figure out what do we do to stay on top? What do we do to stay creative in a new setting? Writing on Zoom and writing on, you know, Be Live and stuff like this is so weird at first, but then it all starts to become second nature. And I always like to throw back to, we've all had Instagram Live forever, right? We've had it forever.
Yes.
But none of us really used it until all of a sudden it was all we had, you know? And so it's really sparked my mind in a way to not just get this microphone and this plug-in so that I can record vocals, but, you know, get the piano part and this and the cables and try to figure out, like, how else can I stay on top of the game? Or if all of a sudden I need to be making demos, you know? And so just kind of using this downtime and as inspiration to learn, to, you know, stretch.
Yeah. How did all this, I mean, of course, back in March when everything shut down and you said, okay, I need to go back to LA, and that's where you are. I mean, your communication with your label, I know you're with the Valerie Music Group, and those guys, you know, Chris and everybody there is George. I mean, they're awesome. And what did they say? Just stay there. We'll let you know when to come back to Nashville. How did all that go down?
Honestly, it was never really a conversation just because it wasn't like I just grabbed the dog and my stuff and moved. We were on tour with Lanco, and I literally had my bag from that week on the road. And we went home when Minneapolis canceled, and I grabbed my dog, didn't even unzip the bag, and just flew straight to California. And because we already had a place here, because Sabina's here a lot,
right?
It just felt normal. You know, she was still shooting for a couple weeks before everything on that side was canceled. And so I was like, well, I got nothing to do. I'm going to, you know, and you're working. So that's obviously the direction I need to go. And so came out here and, you know, everybody, we all thought, you know, is it going to be a week, 2 weeks? Is it going to be a month? What's happening? And then I've been back to Nashville a few times. But for the most part, I mean, yeah, we're here. And they were fine with it because, it wasn't like all of a sudden like, hey guys, I'm moving to California until this is over. It was, hey guys, I'm just sleeping in my other bed.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
How did you meet Sabina?
So we met at Stagecoach, which is a big country festival out in California.
Okay. Yep.
For anybody that doesn't know, Stagecoach is basically Coachella week 3, except for it's country music. Same place, etc. And I met her the old-fashioned way. I met her in the pit. You know, I was I saw her backstage on Friday, and I was like, man, this girl is so familiar. How do I know her? Do I know her from? Is she here with a band? Am I not supposed to talk to her? Is she here? Like, who is this girl? I chickened out. I didn't talk to her. And then, you know, I've got the One That Got Away song a billion times in my head for the whole weekend. And then all of a sudden, come Sunday, I look out in the pit from the stage. And I had just gotten off tour with Dustin Lynch. And I was on side stage while he was performing. And I saw her in the pit. And there's like 80,000 people at this point, you know? And so I like ran down there like an excited high school kid. I just ran down into the pit, and I had enough liquid confidence at this point and courage to walk up and just a simple hello. It was really quick. You know, I was like, hey, how do I know you? You know, I see you're around some of my mutual friends, and we didn't know each other. But then, you know, she kind of ran away, and then I had to do what the kids do these days. I had to slide in the DMs the next day to hook the fish. But we, in that moment is when I realized that I recognized her from a movie, like a couple things I'd seen on TV.
Yep.
And had a total crush on her and a couple things I'd seen, but had never put it together of who that person was, you know. And then all of a sudden, people were like, "Oh, who's your celebrity crush?" I'm like, "I got her."
So, just curious, did she think you were some crazy fan coming up to her, or did she know that you were a performer as well?
No, I don't think she knew I was a performer after I left, because she was with some of the same people that I knew, which I didn't even know until way after the fact. The best thing about Sabina is, even though I had seen her in some stuff, her and I, career-wise, have been on a very similar trajectory. Like, done really big stuff and like getting our name out, and then like back to figuring out how do we do it on our own, headlining stuff. Okay, opening up for a bunch of people, small roles, blah blah blah, to back down and then back, and so we're kind of like on this ebb and flow. So I think she was just as surprised as I would have been at that point. It was like, hey Tyler, I love your music. I'm like, really? Thanks, man. So it was cool. I don't know. Maybe she thought. Maybe she's like, oh yeah, he's seen me in this for sure. Maybe I'm just giving her too much credit.
Hey, it worked. Whatever you did, it worked.
Yeah, exactly. That's like a perfect match. Why? How did you get started in country music?
Country for me when I was a kid was my Uncle Tim. He is this, when I was growing up, he was this guitar playing, football coaching, just the man, and he was, anytime we did any type of barbecue in the South, they call them cookouts. California, we say barbecue. Even if you're not grilling, if you're outside eating,
it's a barbecue.
And well, there's got to be a grill, but you know what I mean. And
yeah,
him and all his friends showed up with guitars, and I just wanted to be in that party. I wanted to be able to get a guitar and play music with my uncle and his friends. And the songs they were playing, were anything from Garth Brooks to Brooks and Dunn to the rock and roll side, like the Eagles or Creedence Clearwater, Tom Petty, and just all of that kind of, to me, mixed with all of a sudden my obsession with this movie called Pure Country when I was 8 years old.
Yep.
To me, I didn't know who George Strait was as much as I knew as an 8-year-old who Dusty was in this movie, and he was this country singing moonlighter that was pretending he wasn't a country star, that whole story. And which is funny because now, it's a chick flick, so I don't really, you watch it now and it's just massive chick flick. When I was a kid, he was the coolest. And
right.
So getting to go see that tour, I got to go see George Strait, and then falling in love with my uncle playing live music, and then getting a guitar. And when you first get a guitar when you're that young, there's two things you want to do, at least for me. I got an electric and I plugged it in and I turned it as loud as I could, and I played stuff like I played everything from Metallica to, you name it. If I could turn it up loud and get the pedals out, I was going hard. And then if I was playing my acoustic, I was doing singer-songwriter stuff. And the singer-songwriter stuff that I would choose is the stuff that I saw my uncle get the best reactions from. And that was Friends in Low Places. That was Neon Moon. That was all these just, like incredibly written sing-along songs. And so, that's where country started for me. And then it's just been a crazy path ever since.
Yeah, I remember when The Difference came out, we were playing that, and I just said, this is such a great song. And I would consider that, like, that was when I really realized that, man, this guy's got what it takes. When I heard that song, The Difference, I said, that had to be the turning point for you.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. And it was, that was the first single that we put out once I had signed with Big Machine and Valerie. And it was, it was everything. It's about to come up on the 3-year anniversary here in a couple, oh my God, it's like in 3 days. It's the 3-year anniversary of when that song came out.
Already. Wow.
Yeah. And, and over quarantine, that song went gold, which was the coolest thing in the world. I thought I was just having a catch up with my whole team on Zoom. And there was, like 16 of us. Like, so we actually brought you here to tell you that your first single went gold. And,
how cool is that? That feeling, what's that feeling like when you're told that dude, your single just went gold? It sold all these copies. You've reached that level. What's that like?
It's unexplainable. I've always said I want, obviously I want #1 records. I want all this stuff, but I was like, I need a gold record because I need a plaque. I need a thing that
you need something to hang on the wall.
Dude, there's no room on that wall.
No, I'm never letting her anywhere near the plaque. The plaque goes to Nashville.
Okay.
But I needed something that I could physically hold, that I could always tangibly say, look, Mom, you believed in me. You let me do music. Look at this, right? And so there's a lot of incredible things that I've been lucky enough to do. I've done the Grand Ole Opry a bunch of times. I've done and all these incredible moments, like doing the Opry for the first time is something that I know, something I get to experience. But a plaque and that gold record is something we can all hold. And I don't know if anybody else as a musician feels that way when they get their first plaque, but to me it was
It's got to be wild.
just so exciting. So
Well, it's a huge accomplishment, and all the support that you had behind you. You kind of feel like you've all shared in that award. It's, as
absolutely.
much as you brought it to life, they all, just supported you since you were, what you said, 8 years old with the guitar.
Yeah. 14 with the guitar, 8 years old at the George Strait concert.
That's what it was. Yeah. So.
All down. I love it. Hey, you talked about numbers and, reaching the gold level, but isn't it like 200 million streams or something like that? That's an unbelievable number.
So that was another thing that we got to celebrate. And we hit 200 million total streams for all my music, like as a whole. And what's crazy is I actually just looked at the numbers a couple days ago, and it's 250 now. And so that's what's crazy to me, is because I don't know, like when we're sitting here, we can't do shows. You just expect everything to slow down, and it's so inspiring and cool to see that fans are clutching on almost even harder, and they're listening and streaming even more, and they're buying more. It might be the Instagram lives, and the connections and all that stuff. And
well, you know what? It's also doing things like this. We're having this conversation. We have viewers, we have listeners, and they find out that you're a real person. You're cool. You're down to earth. And you're putting out great music, and you're putting out music that people can relate to. I mean, from the difference to, I was listening to Real Love before we went on tonight, and to the new song that's coming out. That's what people want to hear. And it makes them feel good. And they go, that guy's singing about me, or that, hey, Tyler that's me in that song. I mean, that's what it's about. You've touched them. So yeah, absolutely. You're doing it right, man.
Thanks, man. And that's the whole thing. I mean, music moves me more than anything in the world. And so when I do, even though I write all week, every week, when I do get a chance to sit down and write a song with other co-writers, and whether it's 1 or 5 times a week, like I really try extremely hard to make it something that's going to move somebody, something that's going to be as relatable as physically possible. And if we're writing a drinking song, what's the drinking song that moves somebody? And it's like, how do you write the same thing everybody always writes, but make somebody feel it, And yeah, it's interesting.
Amazingly, they come out different.
Yeah.
You can say the same thing in a totally different manner, and it's a winner.
That's wild, though. I looked at those numbers, and I was doing some research before you went on tonight. It just said, man, this kicks ass. These numbers. You got the gold record, 250 million streams. I mean, this is crazy. That's got to tell you something right there. I mean, when you go to bed at night, do you go like, what's going on? This is, but you gotta hold yourself together, and it's so cool. So cool. Yeah. What, to get you where you are, what's the best piece of advice that you were ever given?
Oh man. So when I first moved to town, I got to meet Garth Brooks, and which is, they always say, don't meet your idol because they'll ruin it for you. Garth Brooks is the exact opposite of that. He's, and everybody that's ever met Garth, even if I've shared a few words, will always say the same thing, that he's the nicest, most genuine person like they've ever met. And he was so kind, and he gave me his information, and I sent him one of my first demos, like right when I was first moving to town, and he set me up with meetings with his manager and his publisher and all sorts of just incredible things as a new kid to town.
Really?
As a new 30-year-old to town. And he told me, no matter what, man, write the best songs, obviously, that you ever can, but always record the best songs that you've ever heard. And it wasn't until I heard the difference that I understood exactly what he meant by that, because we had been, I'd written 100, 200 something songs once I signed this deal, trying to figure out like, all right, cool. We love this song. We love this song. These are all in a pile, but what's that first one? And we were listening to outside songs, and, I'd never recorded an outside song. But that was when advice like that from somebody like Garth really comes into play, because he's like, man, if I only released or recorded my songs, I would have never had The Dance. I would have never had Friends in Low Places, and some like the biggest songs of all time. Absolutely. And our conversation had started with, I did a writer's round with Tony Arata, which wrote The Dance, and he's one of Garth's best friends. And I got to hang out with Tony a little bit, and with my family and my uncle playing guitar, one of our biggest traditions of all time is anytime it comes out, my grandma and I and my Uncle Tim, we all sing the dance, Garth Brooks. That's like our one moment. It's a one song that we all sing together. And just telling Tony, like, you know, thanks for writing that song, because it's been massive part of my life growing up. And then I got to meet Garth randomly 2 weeks later and tell him that same story and about the Tony thing. And I don't know, he kind of just sucked into that story with me and then just kind of pulled me to the side and we hung out for a little bit. And but yeah, it was really when I heard the difference in this pitch meeting, I was like, that's what Garth's talking about. When you hear it, it isn't necessarily the best song you've ever heard, but it's for you the best song, right? It's a song I finally heard that sound and felt like I wrote it. And I was supposed to hear it that day. And yeah, good old Garth.
You know, I can't agree with you more on that with Garth, because I can tell you a real quick story here in Syracuse many years ago when he was doing, the big, like we have a Carrier Dome and 80,000 seat arena, had 2 shows booked there, both sold out. And of course, with the radio thing, we're doing our thing. And we were backstage and I had a program in my hand for the show that night.
Yeah.
And he hit me and he goes, Skip, did you pay for that? I go, yeah, it was $5. No big deal. I just wanted to he goes, he reaches in his pocket, pulls out a $5 bill and goes, here, you don't pay for anything at my shows.
Wow.
Shit, this is really cool. I'm like,
oh yeah.
And it's just, he just such a genuine person, just so real. And, even in Nashville at CRS, we've seen him there a couple of times and just different things we've done. We've had conversations with him and he's just so cool and so down to earth. He's no different than you and I. And he just come across that way, which is awesome.
Absolutely. Wow. And you got $5 from Garth.
Yeah.
Did you frame it, Skip?
No, my wife. You know what? Here's what probably happened to that $5 bill. I left it in my jeans pocket. It hit the washing machine.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? My wife reaches in the pocket before it goes into the washing machine to empty out the pockets. That $5 bill ended up somewhere else. I just don't know about it. That's what I'm.
I know that game. 100%.
Do you do that, Deb?
I used to do that. And then now I'm like, if the money falls out and it's in there, then I'll grab it. If it's not, I don't have time to search through the pockets anymore. I'm lucky I get the laundry done.
Hey, how many tattoos do you have? I see when you had your arm up there, I could see something on your sleeve. Yeah.
So I've got a big one right here. It's like basically it's hard because the camera is reversed. So when I move one way, my body goes the other way.
I know it's totally opposite.
So this one is
Hey, let me turn around.
It's upside down, but it's my dog.
Yeah.
It's
okay.
I've had her for 15 years. On her 13th birthday, I got her face tattooed on my body.
That's wonderful.
Rescued her when I was 19. I'm turning 35 in a couple weeks, and I still have her. And so it's just crazy when you think about it. She's been my dog almost half my life. She's been with me.
Yeah. Is Abby all good with Abby? Things good?
She's good. Yeah, she had a little bit of a scare around Halloween time, and it was the only real scare we've ever had with her. And she was extremely sick for about a week, and she's her sassy. We call her the sassy cat. She's just herself, and it's great.
Love it.
I've got a they call it 3/4 sleeve, I guess, but from here all the way up to here.
Yeah.
Some under here, my chest, my back, and one inside my lip.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, and I got Mickey Mouse on my leg too, which is one of my favorites.
That's cool. That's cool. And why Mickey Mouse? Why is that one of your favorites? Do you enjoy going while you're in California? Do you go to Disneyland, or when you're do you go to Orlando to Disney World?
So growing up in California, it's definitely, I love Disney World, but Disneyland is the Mecca, right? And so growing up just around it my whole life, it was just Walt Disney's dream, and the whole tattoo is it's a big piece with a lot of moving parts, but it's more or less about Mickey Mouse as it is about Walt Disney's dream. Like Walt was turned down by everybody, and then he just had this idea, one little idea of this little mouse. And then, the idea was almost stolen, and then all these crazy stories. He eventually gets in, and boom, here we are. And it's a quote from him, and it says, "That's the real problem with the world today, is too many people grow up." And it's just a reminder to, never take life too seriously and just keep having fun and keep chasing the dream. And it's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
And one of his original, not original sketches because that mouse was super ugly, but one of his early sketches.
Yeah, well, that's true. That's true.
We're big Walt Disney fans in my family. So our kids grew up going to Disney every year, and we've always been so impressed and about him and his dream. And we have these little plaques with these little sayings that we've given to all the kids to just follow your dreams, because you just never know, what you can pursue. So
I've got the partner statue. So on the as part of the tattoo is the partner statue. So when you walk into Disneyland, I think there's one at Disney World as well, but when you walk in, it's the statue you see of Walt holding Mickey Mouse's hand.
Yes.
And his hand is like this to the park. So they put that up after he died, and it's supposed to represent him giving the park to Mickey. Like, this is yours now. And so, I've got, it's all this whole big thing on my leg. Yeah.
That's cool. It's true, though. Once you get one, you're going to get more. And
yeah, I mean, I started the week after I turned 18, and I've got all sorts of ideas for the next ones. So.
Hear what mom or dad said, you were on your own, you could do it. So,
Exactly.
May regret that someday, son. No. I know. I hear. I got a couple myself. So
yeah.
Deb's got her back tattooed.
No, I don't. Don't listen to him. We just went through our first tattoos in our family a couple weeks back. So so I'm a mom, of course. We've raised 4, and my big thing was no tattoos until you graduate college. They all went to college, and my thing was I just didn't want them to get one when they were in a drunken state and then regret it and not know it's in a bad spot, it's going to stretch, or it doesn't mean anything, whatever. So finally, our 25-year-old, who's been out of school for quite some time, just got his first tattoo, and our younger daughter just got her first one. But hers was, we had a dog like you did. She was 15, and she grew up with the kids. So my youngest just got the tattoo with our little puppy thing on her. So I took it to heart when you said you had your dog on your arm there, because they're part of your family. So
totally.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're with you for a long time.
I love that.
Forever.
Anyway, now they can do whatever they want. Although they're all watching now, so I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know what's going to happen now.
Yeah, they do what they want. The fireplace is down, and you weren't home earlier, yet your son was there with his girlfriend. So I'm just,
Couch is getting hot.
Yep.
Anyway, back to Tyler and his music.
It's heating up, baby. It's heating up. Anyways, yes, let's talk about your music. So we got the single coming out. What's down the road? We got the single that drops, you said, week from Friday or week from
so it comes out Thursday night. So, the 12th Friday, but Thursday night.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's coming off the album? So
this is first single after the album.
Okay.
And so, album came out in September last year, and so this is first step towards the next chapter. It's called Better Than You're Used To, and this was one I wrote over the summer, and it was just one of those ones that I knew right away. Everybody loved the song and whatnot, and but the album was pretty much already planned out, and so we're always. By the time the album came out, I'd already written another 50 songs towards the next thing, and so that's just how it works with timing, but. With Better Than You're Used To, I was, I went on TikTok and just I don't do the dancing or anything on TikTok. I just use it for what I do. I just music and everything and show like an inside different weird world of my dogs and my wife and I. And
that's
and did like we were on a road trip over there Christmas to go back home and was doing just little teasers of songs. And I did this one of Better Than You're Used To. And I didn't even post it for like a month. And then 2 weeks ago, I threw it up on TikTok. It was like, oh, hey, here's a new song. And it just blew up. It was like over 3 million hits. It's got like 50,000 shares. It's just crazy. And so the next morning, Scott, everybody, we're like, all right, cool. We're going to record this. We're going to put it out right away. Now it comes out in a week. So here we go.
And it's funny when I was talking to the Chris and the gang at the label, they were like, yeah, he's got this. You got to hear the new song. You got it, and they were really pumped about it. And that was the other reason they wanted to get you on the podcast. And I'm like, absolutely, dude. And I'm a fan. I will admit I'm a fan. And your music is wonderful, dude. It's just really, really, really cool.
I can play you guys a little clip of it. You guys want to hear a little clip of it?
Yeah, we'd love to hear a little.
Absolutely.
If my manager's probably going to be like, yo, why did you do that? And I'm going to be like, Cause it's Skip and Dev. We meet.
We get a little sneak peek. That's great.
I did hear that they had to clear this through your manager first. So
that yeah, this is all right. Dude, just like a little bit of chorus, give you a little vibe, right? A little
right,
vibe
all
check.
Okay.
All right.
Wow.
Cool.
Love it already.
Just a little
Yeah.
vibe.
All right. Yep. I can't wait to get my hands on it already. Seriously.
So if we go to TikTok, we'll be able to hear pieces of it before it actually came together, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah,
Okay.
TikTok, my Instagram, I've got like a bunch of acoustic stuff of me playing pretty much the whole song, and then the demo before this version and all that stuff, and me doing car karaoke with the wife. We just
Love
party
it.
while we drive.
Love it.
Safely party while we drive.
Of course.
Makes time go by. Makes time go by.
Yeah.
How far is that drive actually? How many hours does it take you? Or
we
days?
Days. So we drove because of our two dogs and COVID and everything. We're like, we're going to fly and then have to quarantine before seeing family and stuff. So we're like, let's just drive. So we drove from LA to Massachusetts, and it was 3 days. But we stayed for 5 weeks. So it was
then it was worth it.
Yeah, but 3 days, that's still pretty good for going cross country, coast to coast.
Yeah, I did 15 hours basically driving, and then sleep 15 hours driving, 15 hours got there. So, but we stopped. My mom's in Pennsylvania, so we stopped in Pennsylvania and we were there for 5 days, and then went up to Massachusetts.
I was going to ask how you went through. Okay.
Yeah. So it was 40 hours to first destination, and then 5 extra hours to get to her parents.
So you actually have been to the Northeast then a few times, I guess, right?
Yeah, many times. Yeah, I love it.
So when you're in the area, then we'll have to be sure to visit you. But then the weather, the whole Northeast, the whole gamut over here. So.
Oh yeah. I mean, when I was back there, it snowed like 12 inches, I guess, right? Like mid to end December, it was like 12 inches of snow. So for me, that was like a blizzard.
I know.
Oh, thanks, Lou.
Yes, Lou. We all know Lou.
Hi, Lou.
I love that. Thank you.
That's awesome stuff. And So let me ask you this. Now I'm thinking about this with this pandemic and everything, we've been shut down since March. Yeah, you've done some road trips, this and that. But how many songs do you think you have written? Well, you've been pretty much just there.
Yeah. The album prep and stuff took a lot of time, and I definitely paused for quite a while we were getting the album ready to go. And I honestly, I would say probably just as much as a normal year. I mean, I think I probably have like, I don't know, maybe 30, 40. I'd say 40.
Okay.
40 this year. 40 since lockdown, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, I went on quite a few trips. Not like unsafe COVID trips, but us just driving to national parks and stuff. But,
why not? I mean, we've talked to other artists that said that they've been taking trips just to see different parts of our country, or even their own neighborhood, places they normally don't get to go.
Totally. I mean, I grew up 4 hours from Yosemite, and I had never been. Like, what is wrong with me? And so then I want to be like, so we just adopted Max. Max is a 16-year-old husky, and he was in a bad living situation, and we found out about it. So we got him in May, thinking, we'll just rehab this dog for a couple months and find him a home. And then we fall in love with Max. He's just like this big white polar bear. And so now that's Abby's boyfriend, and they're 15 and 16. They're just grandpa and grandma.
That's so awesome.
And so Max being so old, and now all of a sudden I have free time, I was like, I want to show Sabina, because Sabina's lived in California for a long time, but mostly just LA, a little bit of San Francisco. I wanted to show her California. I wanted to take her to Lake Tahoe and show her like the places I grew up and different parts of the coast. And I was like, let's do like a 3-week road trip. Take the dogs. We'll show Max all of California. And, I'll get to see Yosemite for the first time, and she'd get to see all these other places I grew up loving. And took her to like Santa Cruz to see the boardwalk, like just
Nice.
like random tourist things, right? And the tourist things that people that aren't from California do, and the people that are from California never go to, we went and did them all, you know.
Yep.
And so
Yep.
it was a lot of fun, and we've done a few of those trips. We went, you know, went to Zion in Utah for our anniversary.
Yeah.
And,
Nice.
Joshua
You
Tree, and just
Yeah.
trying to see it all.
Let me ask you this: being who you are, TylerRich, and of course being married to Sabina. I mean, do you get the privacy? Are you able to go somewhere and not have people like, oh, can I get your autograph? Can I get a picture? Can I? You know, you deserve to have that privacy.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering how that all works out because of both of you being who you are.
Yeah, it's never weird or overbearing. It's a very normal amount, I guess you would say. People a lot of times will be somewhere and then we'll leave, and then we'll see tweets. Oh my God, you were here! I wish I would have come to say hello. And to us, that's upsetting because we love to meet people. We love to talk to people. And if somebody, because it's not overbearing, you know, like maybe one or a couple people in a certain place might know who we are unless somebody says something. And if it's just one or two people, you know, we'd love to meet people. Come say hi. But it's at a very normal level right now. One of the weirdest things is when we were in Zion and we were going through this canyon, and Sabina was like yelling, doing something, and then we heard a person say Sabina, and we turned around thinking it was a friend, and it was a fan that recognized her voice from Instagram stories and stuff. And she came right around the corner, and she's like, "I know your voice because of all your stories online." Oh my God! I was like, "We just got recognized in a canyon, Sabina. That's the coolest one yet."
That is very cool.
Middle of a
very cool.
But no, yeah, very, very normal level. And it always makes our day when somebody comes in.
And TikTok is the app of choice, correct?
Is mine?
The TikTok, is that the new app of choice?
Oh, you know, it's created such a cool new world for me that 100%. I realized that rather than sitting around being like, oh, I'm never gonna get on TikTok because it's just dancing and it's dumb, I actually sat down and I looked through it, and I mean, it's everything from boring stuff, educational stuff that I like stocks, to writing music and producing music, to tips and tricks, to dancing, to songwriting. You know, it's everything you want it to be. And I was like, man, there's a whole demographic of fans, music fans, that are using this app that aren't on Instagram. And I was like, if I'm not doing everything I can at the same time on this app, I'm wasting I'm wasting almost potentially like half of my entire fan base. And I don't honestly think my career would be what it is right now if it wasn't for TikTok this year. Because when we were talking about how, wow, my streams went up so much in a year where I can't tour, well, I found a new app, you know? And so Leave Her Wild had already been out for well over a year or two. I guess probably well over a year. And then I posted a video on TikTok of Leave Her Wild with my wife doing like random goofy things of who she is. And that has got like 7 million views, and like the streams went up like 300%. And you gotta think those are all new fans. And so I just, if anybody's watching this, it's a musician that feels intimidated and just freaked out by TikTok, I was too, and it's absolutely changed my life. I get to release Better Than You're Used To next week strictly because of the reaction on TikTok. I mean, it would have come out eventually. It was definitely one of our favorites. But now I get to release it on Valentine's Day weekend, you know, and do it.
Well, social media is the it thing today, and every time they come out with a new social media aspect, it just takes off like wildfire. So it works out great.
Absolutely.
That's crazy. You know, it is. The TikTok's on fire. Everybody's using it. And I get it. And man, the exposure you get is just phenomenal. Let's go back a little bit with the album 2000 Miles. I saw a video. It Feels Like Home? Feels like home. And it was done during the pandemic, if I'm not mistaken. And you're in different homes, and that's kind of cool how you did that.
Yeah, so Feels Like Home is very specifically about unfamiliar places that feel like home. And, you know, me going to Dublin and feeling I'm like 75% Irish. And so when I got to Dublin and I'd just been in all these other countries, I felt this strange innate feeling of home. And I was like, crazy how I can be thousands of miles away from my actual home, surrounded by strangers, and feel like I belong. And I was like, and then so a couple of years later, I had written down that thought, and then a couple of years later, I'm in a writer's room, and I was like, yo, guys, what if that is every dive bar in America, or every city, every small town has a dive bar that'll make you feel like home. It's going to have your same beers on draft. It's going to have a shitty broken bowl in the corner. It's going to have, you know, and there, you know, if Friends in Low Places or Don't Stop Believing or something comes on, strangers are going to hug each other and dance, you know, and it's like, there's always that place. And so that's what we wrote this song about. And I was like, I want the music video to be everybody that makes me feel like home. And so my friends that are, you know, I've been lucky enough in and out of bands and stuff touring since, you know, I was right out of high school. And so I have friends all across the country, and I'm lucky to say that, close friends. And so in that video are my friends from New York, our family from Massachusetts, friends from California, friends from Nashville, friends from Germany, you know, and it's like all these different people in their own little quarantine bubbles filming from their home. And I was like, I want to watch that video and feel like home. And I want people to watch that video and understand what home is to me. And it was such a fun thing. And it was just so cool, like, to get all that footage back and then just laugh through the outtakes of my friends that are awkward on camera and don't know how to, they're like, you know, what do we do? But, you know, the director would FaceTime or Zoom them just like this. They would set it up. They'd set up a camera, and he would direct them and tell them what to do from LA all across the world.
That's amazing.
That is amazing how that all just comes together like that. You'd really almost never know that you're not all in the same place making a video. So
when it comes to your social media, I mean, you do it all yourself, or do you have a team that does a lot of that for you as well?
So I do, you know, I've got a lot of friends that, I've got a team that they'll post stuff for me here and there, and mostly come up with ideas for me, with me, etc. We're a team in that aspect, but I run it all. You know, if it's ever like sounds like it's me typing, it's always me typing. You know, unless it's promoting a show or something easy that, you know, shout out to Parker. If Parker can post it, you know, while I'm in a write or something, he'll post it. But if it's ever anything that's personal, 98% of the time it's me posting it. And I truly, I know we keep talking about it, but I truly like reward. I don't even know what I'm trying to say here. I blame social media for most of my success. You know, like,
that's a good thing.
Yeah, me like fighting to death to get Instagram followers 7 years ago and trying to get, you know, like any type of follows and building these things here and building these little pockets here. And it's all been a slow build. And so I thoroughly enjoy my social media because it's all the same people and all the new people, you know, that keep coming in.
And if you don't like somebody, you just click and they're gone.
Yeah. That's the best part.
I know. See you, dude. Goodbye.
No.
Especially now with recently with all the crap that's been going on. But tell us about what was it like when you got to your first deal? Tell me about that whole experience. I mean, you've been there a few years, but when you first signed that deal, what were you feeling? How excited were you? How was all that going?
So signing the deal was a party in itself. You know, that was, you know, champagne and explosions and the whole 9 yards. But finding out I got the deal was the real moment that I'll never forget, because I had been going from Nashville to Northern California and playing these casino lounges. And so I would do 5 nights in a row, 4 hours a night. So 20 hours of singing. And I would just do cover songs, new songs, making, you know, okay money. I do it 4 or 5 nights in a row, fly home, write songs for 2 weeks, fly back, write 2 songs, write songs for 2 weeks, fly back and forth. And it was, you know, there were some amazing people that would come every night, and it wasn't a show. I was background music in a smoky casino lounge, and I met some incredible people during it. And but for the most part, you know, it was torment. You know, as somebody that wants to be on tour and somebody wants to be playing concerts, I was playing cover songs, you know, and it being ignored by people. And I remember I was sitting at Starbucks. I had the same routine. I'd go watch like 2 movies a day, and then I would go to Starbucks and just sit there and stare at my computer. Like, what am I doing in this little town? You know, I was in the middle of nowhere, and I was balancing bills with not enough money. And I was just like, how am I gonna make this work? I can't keep coming all the way out here. What am I doing? And I got his phone call because we had done a showcase for Big Machine with some other labels, but we hadn't really heard. You know, it'd been like 6 weeks, and so I was kind of losing hope. And I got a phone call from my manager, and he's like, "Hey man," he's like, "Scott just called me," and he was like, "Hey, I know that took a little while. I was trying to figure out what was the perfect team for Tyler, and we'd love to offer him a spot in the Valerie Music family." And I was like, it was just crazy. I mean, like I'm tearing up
I
right
was
now.
gonna say you probably were ready to. You were crying at that moment.
Wouldn't blame you.
Absolutely. Like I just lost it. I was in a Starbucks around a bunch of strangers, just like crying, and it just was this whole like thing that was piled on top of each other of where I was and what I was doing and doing these bills and like all this stuff in this moment, and then getting that phone call, and I just paced the parking lot for 30 minutes, calling everybody I could possibly call, and just losing my freaking mind. Yeah, it was. And then then it's like all of a sudden it was the holidays, and so I actually didn't sign it until middle of January. And I think it was 2017, and it was middle of January, and so it was like 3 months of being told you were getting a record deal, and then just sitting around like, I hope they don't change their mind. I told everybody already.
Well, I know it when Scott Borchetta makes a deal, he makes a deal. Jimmy Harden right behind him. I mean, a couple of great guys, and they mean what they say, and you're in the right place, dude.
Yeah,
you're definitely in the right place.
Could not agree anymore. Absolutely.
So as a new artist or an artist on the rise, generally, do the labels say, "Hey, we're just having a bunch of labels come together at a venue, and they're all"? Are you invited to this event, or do you have to seek it out yourself? How does that come together?
So it's different for every artist. I've heard about those where it's a showcase and they invite anybody that wants to come, and you'll do it at a show with fans. We started pitching a few songs to a bunch of different labels, and started taking meetings and whatnot. And so I had met with Allison, who's like family to me. She's the head of A&R at Big Machine. Well, family now, I didn't know her then, but we did a meeting, and she loved it, and she set me up for a meeting with Scott. And then Scott, that meeting was going to happen, in like a month or so. But then Scott, my manager had been managing Justin Moore, and they were going to a show together, and Pete was like, "Hey, check out my other new artist, Tyler." And Scott, was like, "Oh my God, I love this. Let's meet right away. Why are we waiting?" And then so we met right away. And then that was acoustic, nervous, awkward as hell.
I was going to say, you had to be a nervous wreck. How do you even sing when you're that nervous?
It's me just singing to Scott in his office, right? Just oh man, a nice little serenade for Borchetta. And then and he's like, "I love it, man. I want to see the band. You got 2 weeks to get your band out here from California." And so the guys flew out, and we did a showcase just for Big Machine, and it's like, you're on a stage in a rehearsal hall, and it's the lights are on you, and then there's just an empty floor. There's no fans, and you just see shadows of people on the back wall. And so I mean, I did it all. I did everything I would have done if there was a crowd. I threw guitar picks to fake fans. I did everything as if it was a full show, and it was fun. I mean, we walked off the stage like, I don't know. It's kind of awkward because you're done, and then you walk down, you say hi to everybody, and like, what if they hated it, But we were super proud of the performance, and we just felt like if this doesn't work, it's not supposed to, because we went all out. Right. But it worked the way it was supposed to, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'd be scared to death.
It was pretty nerve-wracking, to say the least. Your entire future staring at you.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I don't know how, no expressions, just open.
That's the scary part, because they're just blank faces, just staring at you. So.
They're gonna tell me you get the hell out, or do they love me? So it's like, wow. I don't know how you guys do it. You get on stage, and you've got to be Mr. Happy, and you go out there and you rock the place. I mean, I've seen it so many times doing what I do, where I get on the stage and do the presents and say, "Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome blah, blah, blah." That's one thing. But for you guys to go out there and get the crowd pumped up and just kick ass, I mean, night after night after night, and you act like you'd never get tired of it. But come on, let's be real, though. It's a job. We all get tired once in a while.
Yeah.
Go out and do it.
I mean, as soon as you get on stage, all of your day disappears, right? Like, I mean, at least for me and for everybody I know, I mean, I've had horrible days and horrible things going on, and gone on stage, and I've felt it affect me a little bit before, but for the most part, like, I don't know. There's just such an infectious energy when you walk out and you see there's such a community, you know, and there's like, you get to walk out there and see all your best friends that you've never met. And it's just like this giant, I don't know, the euphoric feeling that never gets old. And, but I mean, I'll be pissed off when I get off stage. I'll go right back to my bad mood for sure. But never, you know, but
it takes it all away.
Yeah. But we're, I mean, it's hard too when you're, I mean, you know, a show's a party. Everybody's always in a good mood. The other bands, you know, like the band's friends backstage, it's always just like a fun time. And
that's cool.
If I'm not vibing, I'm not feeling it, I'm going through something, I'll just exclude myself and go be in my own spot rather than be in a bad mood around people, because you don't want to be that energy, right? You don't ever,
right. You don't want to be that guy.
You don't want to let my bad day ruin somebody else's.
Right, exactly.
So, yeah.
What's your band doing? I'm sure you play with the same guys all the time, and especially you got a road band and all that. But what are they doing during this time of the pandemic where there's not much none?
So a lot of them have gotten into online lessons, and so they're teaching people just like this, you know, and posting on blogs and forums. And I've done some promoting for them as much as I can on my Instagram, just like, hey, this is Ben and he can teach you this, and hey, this is Joe and he can make you demos and this, that. And they're just, you know, we get money as a business, like a little bit from like the PPP and stuff like that I can at least like give my guys like a paycheck every once in a while. Right. But I mean, that gives them like, I don't know, a month of life, you know? So they're just doing what they can, you know, little oddball jobs. Our guitar player, we call him Goat. He, not because he's the greatest of all time, just because he eats everybody's food all the time. He was a vet tech. He played music his whole life, you know, but he was a vet tech as well. And before he started playing with us, and he just started doing that again, you know. So he works part-time at a vet in Nashville, and I'm super proud of them all. You know, they're just doing the best they can. And I've had pretty much all my same guys. You know, one guy works at a restaurant right now, and cool. They've been my dudes pretty much the whole time through all this. And so
those are the ones that they're standing behind you on stage that put you out front. They're the ones, without them, you wouldn't be able to do what you're doing. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, those are they're my brothers.
Absolutely. 100%. Absolutely. What is one thing that you haven't done yet that you want to do?
I want to get #1 song on country radio.
Well, that's we already know that's gonna happen.
That's my next goal. I got the plaque. Now I need the #1. I want a Keith Urban tour. What else do I want for Christmas this year?
I'll second that one.
I want a Keith Urban tour, a Keith Urban duet, maybe a handshake. But
why Keith Urban?
Oh man, Keith is he's that one that, like I told you when I was in high school, you know, I was listening to anything that was loud and crazy, right? And Keith was that guy that came from a rock band that had those country roots that turned it up loud and shredded and just owned a stage and brought just such a performance and a life and an energy back into a genre that I still listen to. Like that, you know, like Tim McGraw, Kenny Chesney, Lone Star, all that stuff was like my early 20s, you know, coming in. And but it was Keith that just killed me. And I was like,
hell of a picker. Him and Paisley got to be the two best guitar players that I've seen.
Yeah, so good. And they're so different, you know what I mean? And
yes, exactly.
Yeah, like Paisley is so technically incredibly talented, and then but then like Keith has got like flavor, you know, like different flavor that people that are just as good can't really do sometimes, and it's hard to figure out, but it's cool to watch. And I've gotten to do a couple shows with him and just standing on the side stage, just watching him do his thing. I don't know, I feel like everything, you know, his songs, his melodies, it's that's the goal. Get out there and play for his fans every night.
What about a CMT Crossroads type of thing?
Yeah. So John Fogerty.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I'd like him to get Creedence back together as much as possible, but John. Yeah, Creedence is one of my favorite bands of all time. You know, they're from NorCal.
Yeah.
And I don't know, just even get to sing one song with John Fogerty, I'd lose my mind. But
get more on that. Get him on that. Tell him I got an artist for the next CMT Crossroads.
Yeah. Oh, man,
yeah, you've got connections now. You should be able to get all that accomplished.
Yeah. I'm working on it. Yeah.
We'll revisit in a year, and you'll probably have half your goals met by then.
I'm sure. I know that one song is right around the corner because your music has just been, it just like I mentioned earlier with The Difference, that was the turning point, and it's just upwards and onward. And that was an awesome song. It's just, I'm surprised that didn't go to number one, but close.
Yeah, close. Absolutely.
Close. And that's a good sign. Absolutely. Well, I was just going to ask you something. I just had a brain fart. Forgot. Oh, so you got the San Francisco hat on. Do you go to the games?
As much as I can.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll go to some Braves games out in Nashville when they're playing the Giants.
Okay.
It's about as close as you can get in Tennessee. When I'm in LA, I'll go to as many Dodgers versus Giants games as I can because that's a big rivalry. But I mean, there's nothing quite like going to Oracle Park up in San Francisco.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah, I was gonna go to a few this year, and then obviously nobody got to go. But,
we are big baseball fans in this house.
Yeah,
and we follow the Mets and we follow the Nationals. And
awesome.
the Syracuse, we have a AAA team. We are the farm team. Well, up until just a couple of years ago, before the pandemic, it was the Washington Nationals, and now we're the New York Mets.
Yeah.
So a lot of the players that actually went to the World Series, we got to know, which is cool. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, very, very cool. But
that's what.
Yeah, I saw the hat. I had to ask. So,
yeah, of course.
When in Nashville, do you go to the AAA park at all?
Yeah, I've been a few times. It's so fun. Nashville's such a community, and it's such a cool. And so Nashville's such a tiny big town, and so it's like going to like a real baseball game, but seeing a bunch of people, and it's the sounds, and so it's Nashville as a city when it comes to sports is incredible. It's infectious. It's from the Preds, like the energy that the Preds bring.
Unbelievable.
To Nashville is insane. And Titans, you can just go to a game, and then 49ers are playing Titans this season. It's the first time since I've lived in Nashville, so 6 years. 49ers are playing an away game in Tennessee.
Nice.
And
damn,
we know where you'll be that day.
Yeah, no shows that day. Nope.
Make sure that the calendar is blocked off. No, the energy in Nashville, one of my favorite things is everything that they do there. And when the Preds were playing, in that Stanley Cup or wherever they were at that point, and the street was closed off, and they had the big screens, and it was just wall to wall people. I just absolutely love that energy. We were there. It was right before CMA Fest. So you had that going on with CMA Fest going on. And I was in seventh heaven, which it's just so everybody as a community is just so involved with everything that they have going on.
It was 80,000 people on the street.
That's crazy.
I believe it. I was one of them. I was one of them. Yeah.
Deb has a business in Nashville, and her son lives there. And he,
awesome.
So it's
we're there often.
Yeah, she's there quite a bit. So.
I love it.
Cool.
Also, I see all these comments. Thank you, guys. Gordy, what's up, Britt?
Oh, good. Yeah. Sarah is having a birthday. Yeah, there she is. Wait a minute. Birthday girl.
Oh, Sarah.
Yeah,
birthday,
yeah.
Sarah.
Big fan. But we're running out of time here. I don't want to keep you all night. We usually try to keep it within an hour. And it's, you're awesome, dude. I can't thank you enough for doing this. Who you are and where you are in your career. I mean, you're still young. You got you're rocking. And I can't wait to get that new song on the radio. Really, seriously. And
thanks, Skip.
You tell those people to give me a call, but I'll definitely take it. We'll do it. And, I don't know if Deb's got some questions there or whatever. Some quick questions.
We have a few fun questions we like to throw your way or throw at the end of our show here, just to put a little fun into it. So let's see. What's the best way to spend the day when you're playing hooky?
Oh, man. I'm such a sucker for just blacking out the room and getting a giant blanket and like midday video game or Netflix binge, just like
really
watching like a trilogy movie. Like sometimes I'll pretend I'm sick just so I can do that.
I like that one. You know what? I say that often. I go, one of these days I would love to be like my kids. They'll have a binge day like that and just play hooky and just watch Netflix all day. Like
it's hard. I feel guilty when I do it. And so,
as we're older, we feel guilty, but it is good to do. It's good to. What's that, Skip?
No, I was going to ask, what did you binge watch? Anything Netflix?
I mean, we've been watching a lot of stuff, obviously, recently because there's not much to do. I just watched Manhunt, Deadly Game on Netflix. That was cool. If you guys are looking for something to binge watch on Netflix, my wife's new series, LA's Finest, is on there. It's a Bad Boys, the movie spinoff.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah,
All right.
it's her, Jessica Alba, and Gabrielle Union. And it was just number 4 on the top 10 shows of Netflix last week, which is really cool.
All right. Now I can ask you, now that you mentioned that with your wife being on the show and you guys are sitting on the couch, do you watch it and pick it apart? You know, because honey, you should've looked or whatever, you know.
Yeah, no. I feel like, no, I don't know. Not really. Yeah, we actually just kind of try to enjoy it as much as possible. Because like Sabina will do some, I don't know, she'll do, you know, like I play a lot of shows I don't want to play. Doesn't mean like I don't love the people that end up coming and buying tickets, but it might not be the necessarily like, the perfect setting of what we want to go do that day, you know. But the paycheck's wonderful, you know. So like, okay, yeah, we'll do that show way in the middle of nowhere that we don't necessarily want to on this route because it makes sense. So same thing with acting, you know. Sabina will get acting offers for movies that she doesn't necessarily love the idea of doing this movie, but the paycheck is definitely worth it. And so sometimes we'll like watch those type of movies and then be like, oh my God, like what is happening right there? But that's not very often. I mean, you know, it's we're rarely anything other than happy if we get to watch Sabina on something.
That's awesome.
So,
did you watch Bridgerton?
What is it?
Did you watch Bridgerton?
Oh man, no. So everybody kept telling me I needed to, and then I'm about to start The Crown, and it was like The Crown or Bridgerton, and like for a period timepiece kind of thing. And I started watching Bridgerton, and compared to what I know The Crown is going to be, it felt like High School Musical, and I was like, this isn't for me.
How we ended up watching it. Once we started, we couldn't get away from it. Just like Ozark, when that was up.
Ozark's great. I watched Ozark.
Yep. Waiting for the next season to come out.
Yeah, we watched Succession season 1 and 2 extremely fast. It's on HBO. It's maybe one of the best shows I've ever seen. Yeah, I've watched all of Vikings. Yeah, watched Vikings.
Oh yeah, wow.
Does Sabina have anything else on Netflix or Amazon or anything like that at the moment?
She's got. I don't really know what's available where right now, but she has a new movie that's a Hulu original coming out. It's with Pierce Brosnan. It's called.
Oh.
It's got a name. I don't know,
Love Pierce.
Yeah, it because you know theaters and stuff like not everything's going out of theaters, and so it just got picked up as a Hulu original. False Positive is what it's called.
False Positive.
I think it comes out in March or April, and so that's a Hulu original. You can see Sabina in, and yeah, she's just working away.
No, I mean it's really great that the streaming services they've actually had some really good movies on. I mean, I don't even feel the need to go to the theater anymore because we've had such good movies here.
Yeah, so, I agree.
Aren't they putting a lot of the new movies now? Is it HBO Max or
HBO Max? A lot of them are doing that as like a debut, like a premiere.
Right. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I don't know, but I think you have to. We have HBO, we have all those channels, but I think HBO Max is a little bit more. So something on top.
I don't know if I have that or not. I'll have to check.
Yeah, we'll have to check. One more question here. What do you got, Deb?
Well, speaking of movies, do you have a favorite action movie?
Favorite action movie? Such a good question. I'm such a movie buff that like I watch like. I've got a million favorite movies.
Sounds like my husband. He probably wouldn't know what to pick.
Action. Yeah, I like a lot of like Guy Ritchie style directing films.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Like Snatch, Lock, Stock, Double Barrel, like all that stuff. I like obscure movies. I love horror movies. I'm a really big horror movie thriller fan.
Michael Jackson fit Thriller. That was. Exactly. I think I was reading somewhere. I don't know if it was today or the other day, but when I was kind of doing my homework a little bit, that if you were stuck on an island with one album or something, it would be Michael Jackson's Thriller.
Yeah, that Michael Jackson for me growing up was I was obsessed with his music videos. I used to watch them like movies all the time. And
Ah.
that on the end of my album, the last song on 2,000 Miles is a cover of Billie Jean, which was the version that I created when I used to play in that casino. And I was like, man, Billie Jean is such a cool, to me, Billie Jean is such an incredibly written story
Mhm.
stuck in a massive pop hits body. And I was like, this would be such a cool,
Wow.
like
Yeah.
dirty, smoky kind of like country bar like vibe. And so I had just gotten done playing Blake Shelton Old Red from a request, and I just kind of kept that bluesy kind of vibe going. And I started singing Billie Jean, and all of a sudden I got like $100 tip, and I was like, "Oh shit, this is how I'm supposed to play this song." And so I started just playing it like that, and then I did like radio tour and a bunch of stuff once I signed. I did that Billie Jean cover at every visit. I started doing it at every show, and then when Scott was like, "Yo, I want this to be on your album," and I was like, I want it to be the end because I want the end of my first album with you guys to be how it started, and I want it to just be acoustic and a cajon drum in my voice. I want it to feel like those days when I was finding my way. And yeah, so I did the what you're never supposed to do. You're never supposed to cover the king of anything because it's terrifying and the internet is brutal. But the internet has been very kind about that cover so far. They've enjoyed it.
I love when an artist takes like a really good cover song and makes it their own. I mean, I just love that. Kenny Chesney did I Want to Know Where Love Is. I think that's the one.
Oh, cool.
And I listen to that all the time. And then I have a bunch of other ones. So I'm going to have to add yours to my list now. But when you have a song that is like, it's like your favorite song and it's you and you make it your own.
Yeah,
So,
please check it out. I hope you like it.
Definitely add it to my playlist. With all the other ones.
Tyler, thank you so much for being here tonight. Thank you for taking the time. I know you're on the West Coast, we're on the East Coast.
Oh, yeah.
So it's really you're 3 hours behind us.
It's his dinner time now. He's probably starving.
Oh, poor guy.
My dogs are howling. They're like, oh,
yeah. They want their dinner too.
And feed us. They know. They know what time they get breakfast. They know what time they're going to eat. I know our dogs do the same way. When it's like 5 o'clock, it's like they're like, okay, feed me, and they're running around until we feed them. They know.
She punches her bowl.
They know how to talk.
Let me ask you one more question. We're going to let you go. Have you been on set with your wife?
I have. Yeah.
And what is that like?
It's the coolest thing in the world, especially being a movie buff. Like I'm obsessed with film and the production side and how it all comes together and just the cinematics of it all. And so to get to watch her go through makeup and costume changes and run lines with her, and then meet the other actors, whether they're big or not, doesn't matter. Just meet the other people that are in the film or the TV show, and just watch them do their work. And it's truly captivating because you meet somebody that's like super nice, and then they pick up the paper and they're the biggest asshole in the world, And so it's like they'll like, and it's just crazy how you can be a million different people all at once, and it's truly really really cool. And especially when she was doing LA's Finest, because it was. Just the cast is, all-star cast, and the whole crew was just so nice. And it's one of my favorite things is getting to go on the set.
Well, I'm definitely going to check it out. I've seen it. I just haven't really watched it per se, but I will definitely do that now. But most importantly, I'm going to be listening to your music, and hopefully our viewers and our listeners will be doing the same. It's TylerRich, and the new song comes out a week from Friday. It's going to drop. And all I can tell you is get a hold of your radio station. Tell them you want to hear it. All right. I know I take care of it here in Syracuse, but everywhere else. So wherever you're watching this or listening to this, and wherever, let's get Tyler on the radio sooner rather than later. And that #1 song, dude, is right around the corner. I'm just telling you,
it's coming.
And it hits #1. We're going to come back and do this.
I'll be right here.
Yeah, no, seriously.
We'll be celebrating. We'll all have some champagne.
Yeah, we'll do the champagne thing. Yeah. That's all for you. So that's cool. Tyler, thank you. Yeah, absolutely. It's TylerRich, and of course, he's had a bunch of big songs already, some hits on the radio, and even some bigger ones coming. So make sure you check him out. Keep listening to the country radio. Oh, I do have one more question. Wait a minute. I'm sorry. I wrote it down here. Hang on. Okay. So just to wrap this up, finish this sentence. TylerRich is.
Oh man. Oh, TylerRich is Mickey Mouse dog obsessed country singing tour until he dies best friend.
There it is. Tyler, you're awesome. Thank you so much for joining us here tonight on Skip Happens. I love it. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.